Being compliant is just straightforward. Being maliciously compliant? Well, that's another story. Welcome to this episode of Malicious Compliance. Our first one is from Best Chris Bear. Years ago, I worked for a large newspaper company when they acquired a lot of the assets of another large paper that went out of business. I was a temp in the HR office. It was sad to see so many people come in from the dead newspaper to try and work for the other paper. My job was to gather the resumes, give them a handout of job resources, and to direct them where they could apply for all the benefits that they may be eligible for. When my boss, Larry, saw me waiting outside of the building in the morning, they asked why I was there so early. I explained that I took the bus, so I could either take the bus that got me there early, or the one that would get me to work 90 minutes late. I opted to be early. Larry agreed, and they changed my hours to allow me to arrive earlier and leave earlier. It worked well because I could get a lot done for the office before people arrived. When I left in the afternoon, a second temp was there for all the processing needs from the day. It was seamless. Larry called my agency and extended my contract from 6 weeks to 6 months. They wanted to make me permanent, but there was a process to be followed. Larry sent a memo to everyone concerning my schedule, explaining my schedule needs. A manager above Larry, a man named Jack, told him that he couldn't show favoritism to me, and I needed to comply with the assigned schedule or be replaced. Jack then told Larry that there were no allowances for scheduling special needs of the employees. The next day, my boss, Larry, told me all of this and asked if I could get a ride in the morning so that I would be in on time versus early. I tried my best. I was unable to do so. He told me to just keep coming in early, but don't clock in until time. As for the afternoon, he asked if I could stay until normal time and clock out. I agreed, even though it would make me now having to wait a long time in the evening for the bus. My first day on the new schedule, the very boss that refused my schedule modifications, Jack, walked up to my desk. "I need these photocopies in triplicate." Before I could answer, Larry did. "She's not on the clock for another 20 minutes. She can do it after she clocks in between her regular duties." Jack said, "She's on the clock. She can work." Larry responded ever so sweetly, "No, she's not. You said no schedule modifications. She would have been on the clock, but she's not. Now." Jack asked to see Larry in the office. Larry agreed, and I could hear raised voices. I kept reading my book, quietly, but watching the time. Just before I was to sign in, Larry called me in. "Effective today, you're to go back to your schedule that was modified." I nodded, clocked in, and made the copies before people began arriving. Larry would eventually climb the ladder there, taking over the position Jack held. I wish more bosses were as awesome as Larry. Larry definitely sounds like a good boss, on top of the fact that it sounds like he knows exactly what the hell he's doing, hence why he climbed the ladder. Jack, on the other hand, didn't really seem like he was too in the loop, so I don't know if he moved up or out. This next one is by Jessica Sergey. This happened a couple of years ago at my old job. A pretty demanding corporate gig where we were always juggling tight deadlines, constant emails, and way too many meetings that could have been Slack messages. Around early November, HR sent out one of those all-staff emails with a bright red banner and urgent tone. It read something like, "Reminder, all unused PTO must be taken before December 31st. We will not be allowing rollovers this year. Please schedule your remaining days immediately or risk losing them." No exceptions, no flexibility, no consideration for project timelines. Now, I wasn't one to take a ton of time off during the year, mostly because every time I tried, something urgent would come up and I'd get guilted into postponing. So by November, I had 10 full days of paid time off just sitting there, and according to HR's big red warning, I had about 6 weeks to use them. Naturally, I did what any burnout, underappreciated employee would do. I opened the calendar and booked myself off from December 18th to December 31st, 2 full weeks, right before the new year. smack in the middle of the most chaotic time in our project cycle. A week later, my manager, let's call him Rob, came to me in a mild panic.
Hey, I saw your PTO request. I was hoping we could shift that a little. December's going to be a critical time for
project name,
and we really need all hands on deck.
Yeah, I get that, but HR sent that PTO deadline. If I don't use those days, I lose them, and I've already worked through enough vacations this year. He looked uncomfortable, but couldn't argue with the logic. I even forwarded him the HR email with the subject line, "Using my days," as required. He escalated it to HR, of course. HR's reply?
We understand it may be inconvenient, but our PTO policy is final. Managers are responsible for planning around employee availability.
That reply felt like Christmas came early. So I prepped my team as best as I could, left detailed notes, and on December 18th, logged out, stress-free. While they were scrambling to hit deadlines, dealing with last-minute client requests, and working late, I was sipping hot chocolate, watching Netflix, and actually enjoying my holiday season for once. When I came back in January, the project had been delivered barely. The team was exhausted, mistakes had been made, and the post-mortem meeting was basically 45 minutes of finger-pointing. But no one dared say a word to me. After all, I was just following HR's rules. Moral of the story? If a company insists you follow policy to the letter, don't feel bad when you do it, even if it means watching the ship catch fire from your cozy vacation cabin. I definitely have to give Rob credit for not trying to coerce or make OP feel guilted into working, especially considering the memo came directly from HR to use that vacation time. Definitely shouldn't be any trouble whatsoever if you're simply doing as you're told. And our final one is from Biker Jedi. I first wrote this 4 years ago for this sub, when a lot of you enjoyed it. I've rewritten it and updated and expanded it, and corrected some mistakes. Enjoy! This took place around December of 1992 to January of 1993. I got a job as a security guard after leaving the army, because I wasn't qualified to do much else, and I hadn't decided if I was going to college yet or not. The company refused to pay very much, so they had a high turnover. Because of the turnover, they had small raises built in at 90 days, 6 months, and a year as incentive to stay on. I needed a job, and until I had my shit together, this would do. So I showed up and worked. My 1-year anniversary rolls around, and I don't see my 50 cents an hour raise in my paycheck, but something more like 35 cents. So I called the boss. My 3 and 6 month raises had been delivered with no issues, so I was surprised my 1-year anniversary hadn't shown up. Supposedly, they wanted to give all the employees a raise, so they did. And yes, I got a small raise, along with all the other guards, a few hundred of us. It was something like 35 cents an hour for each of us. Okay, fine. But what about my promised 50 cents an hour? As far as I was concerned, this 35 cents an hour was something you initiated, after promising me more, so this is a bonus. When I called the manager, I was told I wasn't going to get a raise for my 1-year raise because
you just got a raise. No one gets 2 raises at once. If your pay isn't enough, quit.
In other words, they were trying to claim a 35 cent an hour raise for every employee somehow was overriding the fact that I was owed an additional 50 cents an hour longevity raise. I'm sure there were others caught up like that. Fine. They want to give me 35 cents an hour of a raise and tell me that is equal to the 85 cents an hour? I'll find something better. I spent the next week calling in sick and showing up late while job hunting. Called the office at the end of my last day and told them I was done and they could find someone else, giving them no notice at all. Panic mode ensued. Everyone else was at 40 hours for the week and they hated paying overtime. One of the salaried managers had to cover for me. They told me to quit, so I did. I'm a teacher now, near retirement. My raises are still shit, but at least I can barely live off of it, and I have a shitty union for now, which is more than I had then. A few more cents an hour and they could have kept me as a wage slave. crazy that I would even consider it now, looking back on it. At least I enjoy my job today, as crazy as the kids are. I mean, if they're point blank telling you to quit, all OP did was comply with what the hell they wanted, albeit maliciously because they left them pretty much screwed with everybody having that 40 hours for the weekend. I do wonder if there was any kind of contract the OP signed though that reflected those pay raises. Alright, that's enough maliciousness for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Malicious Compliance. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.